Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There's already been a lot of speculation about the state of British politics, and I'm going to disappoint you by refraining from speculating further, although I'm sure there'll be questions to that effect. What I want to say today is that I've been asked specifically to talk about the UK and our relationship with Europe in the context of the invasion, is to say that Matteo Renzi was talking about the fact that nobody can afford to be alone. And I guess my proposition is that the UK is not alone, even after Brexit, and the invasion, the illegal, unjustified aggression of Russia against Ukraine has clarified how even outside of the EU, we can work as the UK absolutely in harmony with our European partners in the EU, with the US, with other global allies, to have a common front against this aggression. Because it's clear that Russia's aggression against Ukraine has upended a lot of the assumptions that we made about the world and about what we can rely upon. And as a result, we're seeing a new fault line, a new tension play out, which is essentially that between democracies and autocracies. The United Kingdom, other countries like Cyprus and other partners are democracies who value democracy, who value the rights and freedoms that come with that, and that our citizens are able to enjoy as a result of that, on one hand. And on the other hand, we have countries like Russia and other authoritarian states who are seeking to create instability for their own ends. They stifle the voices of their own people and deny their own basic rights. We've seen that already in the images of Russians protesting in the street and then being pulled into vans and locked up, with Russian men queuing in huge queues at the airports to flee the country so they don't have to fight in a war that they really don't believe in. And even in places like Iran, where we're seeing brave young women going out onto the streets, facing huge violence and oppression just to be able to choose the sort of life that they want. So the current crisis, the primary crisis that we're facing, is one of a geopolitical crisis between democracy and autocracy. And as I think others have already said, it's an absolutely clear choice for us to choose our side and to show how we stand against this aggression and to protect the rights that we all hold dear. And I think what we've seen in terms of the common response from the UK, from the EU, from the US and other allies has shown that we can still work together in new groupings, even if the UK is outside of the EU. So, for example, we've seen food prices soaring as a result of Russia's invasion, as a result of their blockading of Ukrainian ports and shelling of civilian infrastructure. And Putin clearly is using food as a weapon on a global scale. And that's why we're all working together in the democracy club of like-minded nations to try to ensure that the supply of grain continues to flow to those who need it most. And as Murto and others have said, we are working extremely hard to ensure that we can impose economic sanctions on Russia so that the flow of money to Putin's war machine is squeezed. And they are already having a huge and damaging effect on Russia's economy. Our assessments are that about £275 billion, that's about 60% of Russia's foreign currency reserves, have already been frozen, and that this year Russia's economy is estimated to contract by about 8.5%. We've also seen a massive brain drain from Russia, with as many as 170,000 computer and IT specialists leaving Russia because they don't want to be caught up in this invasion and this conflict. And many of them have come to Cyprus, and so it will be Cyprus that will be benefiting from their skills and expertise, and Russia who will be losing out from the lack of technological development they could offer. So I want to, at this point, also thank the Republic of Cyprus for its strong stance that they've taken in support of Ukraine. We all know this comes at a price, but the choices and the challenges we face mean that we all do have to bear these prices to ensure that we support the global world order that we all are so keen to ensure. And as I said, this is why the coordination that's so vital between all of the like-minded countries has been absolutely essential, particularly ensuring that we work together to impose sanctions. Energy security is clearly a huge issue, and the impact on energy globally has been hugely damaging for all of us. And that's why I think it's really been an opportunity for us to ensure that we re-examine our reliance on Russian hydrocarbons in particular. And that's why at the meeting of European leaders in Prague earlier this month, the United Kingdom Prime Minister outlined the need to usher in a new era of energy independence, dramatically accelerating our own energy production. She also discussed deeper nuclear cooperation, developing next-generation interconnectors in, for example, the North Sea, and forging new European partnerships on things like offshore wind, all of which will help to make the UK, for example, a net energy exporter by 2040. And the summit in Prague also reaffirmed that even though, as I said at the beginning, the UK has left the EU, our commitment to Europe remains steadfast. When the first major test geopolitically after Brexit came with the invasion of Ukraine, we were absolutely clear in that commitment to Europe. And as Europeans, we found new ways of working together to rise to this challenge. For example, the UK has strengthened bilateral relations from the Baltic to the Black Sea. We formed a trilateral partnership with Poland and Ukraine to coordinate our response to the invasion. And we work through NATO, the G7 and other informal groupings to strengthen European security. So as a result, the international community has delivered a resounding condemnation of the sham referenda and annexations of Ukrainian territory, which are a clear part of the Kremlin playbook that we've seen before in Crimea. So it's clear that we can find new ways of working together and to coordinate so that we can stand with our Ukrainian friends for as long as it takes, because others have said Ukraine's fight for freedom is the world's fight for freedom. Thank you.